Well, good evening. I'm Tim Knapp, and I have the pleasure of serving as the mayor of the city of Wilsonville. It's hard for me to believe, but it is 10 years ago that I delivered my first State of the City address here from this very podium. And while that is a while back, it seems like time has flown by and a lot of things have changed in Wilsonville. So I want to talk about a few of those things. I would first like to introduce you to and welcome the members of our city council here so that everyone knows you if they don't already. I have always valued having a range of different perspectives represented on our council. I think that the discussions are more robust and the ultimate decisions are probably better outcomes than if we had more unanimity of opinion. So thank you all who serve now and have served in the past on our council. City Councilor Kristen Ackervall is currently our council president, so she brings maybe a generational shift for some of us to the council, and I certainly welcome her participation. Councilor Susie Stevens, I believe, has been on council since 2012-ish. And she also has been a long-term resident and business person here in the city. Thank you, Susie. And City Councilor Charlotte Lehan, there she is. She sneaked to the back. Charlotte, as you may know, is a former Clackamas County Chair and Clackamas County Commissioner, as well as a long-term former mayor of the city of Wilsonville. So thank you for all your input, too. And our newest member, Councilor Ben West, who is joining us here just this year getting started, and look forward to ongoing dialogue with Mr. West and hearing his perspective and input also. I would also like to recognize other electeds that are here in the room tonight. Clackamas County Commissioner Ken Humberston is here. Thank you, Ken, for coming. Wilsonville State Representative Courtney Neron is here. Thank you, Courtney, for coming. And City of Tigard Council President John Goodhouse is here. Thank you, John, for joining us all the way from Tigard. So is there any other elected person in the room? Am I missing anyone? Thank you so much for all coming. The City Council sets goals after every election. So every 2 years we set goals, and we're going to do that this coming month in April. And we look forward to that discussion. A lot of kind of policy and positioning discussion happens at that time. The council has had consistent goals for a period of time, and these include several major components. One of the ones that I think we are most committed to is the idea of good community design and connectivity. That means we're working to facilitate social connection across neighborhoods, public spaces, and institutions. At the same time, we're trying to enhance physical connections, our roads, our sidewalks, our pathways, our bikeways, and our transit system. We want to provide opportunities for people to walk and recreate outdoors. We want people to have access to nature and to the major waterway that flows through Wilsonville, the Willamette River. So we try to exercise thoughtful land use planning for people, for the jobs, for industry, and for the amenities that people love in living here. We work with planning and managing the challenges that inevitable growth bring to us. At the same time, we're trying to accomplish farmland and forest protection. We're trying to protect environmental resources and exercise good stewardship toward those resources. We keep reinvesting and reinvigorating the community in many ways. We are working to enhance the community amenities like the library, the schools, recreational areas, commercial opportunities. We try to improve our parks and recreational programming. We have new master plans for our park system, especially for Boones Ferry Park and Memorial Park. We understand that design matters in our community. What is built, how it's built, where it's built, changes the dynamic of our community, and it can be for the better or for the worse if we're not careful. We want to promote community economic development, knowing that good jobs and good housing options for people at all stages of their life with their differing needs and interests are important. We want to have an attractive economic environment that fosters quality industries that pay good family wage jobs. We want to be and value being an inclusive, welcoming community. Wilsonville is a community with people from many different backgrounds and places and walks of life, and they are all part of our community. This city adopted a formal resolution a bit ago proclaiming ourselves to be an inclusive community, which might be contrasted to an exclusive community, and we hope that that will continue to be true. Your city government works well. We have a high level of community engagement, and we have volunteers that are key to making the city function well, and we thank you all who are volunteers. You provide many thousands of hours each year serving on city boards and commissions, working with our library, our schools, our seniors, our churches, our other social organizations. This is a significant factor in how our community socially functions day to day, year to year, and it adds innumerable benefits to our community. At the same time, we have a professional level, high quality city staff that has a strong service orientation. Our staff and our council have prioritized conservative budgeting and tight fiscal controls. For over 21 consecutive years, the Government Finance Officers Association of the U.S. and Canada has recognized the City of Wilsonville Finance Department with the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. The city regularly meets the highest principles of government budgeting standards. Our financial oversight has resulted in Standard & Poor's global ratings recently raising the City of Wilsonville's long-term rating. This was in 2018 from a AA+ to a AAA rating, a strong indicator of the consistent fiscal responsibility exercised in this city. The city undertakes over the years and in recent years has done several major planning efforts which we expect to come to fruition in coming years. Residential development is one of the major topics. We are working on the Frog Pond neighborhoods now as the Villebois development plan is nearing completion. The Frog Pond West area plan was adopted in November of 2015. The school district has confirmed that they will locate a primary school within the Frog Pond West neighborhood, and that is expected to become a social center, much like Lowry Primary School functions in the Villebois neighborhood. Frog Pond West will be a traditional suburban single-family home neighborhood, which will help balance out the city's portfolio of housing. I believe the Frog Pond West is currently planned to have about 570 houses within Frog Pond West on lots ranging from 4,000 feet to 12,000 feet each. The costs of construction in what would be known as a greenfield area, meaning it needs new pipes and roads and sidewalks, means that this will not be a affordable housing, modestly priced area. Those costs have to be borne somehow, and the prices of homes in that area will bear most of that cost. It is designed to be a connected neighborhood for people. It will be walkable. There will be a grid street system. There will be limited vehicle entries from Beckman Road and Stafford Road. There will be connection to a wonderful future regional trail and park system that will flow down along Beckman Creek and reach all the way to Memorial Park. It is also designated as the 2019 Northwest Natural Street of Dreams exhibition site, and we look forward to that coming out of the ground and seeing what that looks like. The time frame seems tight, but I have seen houses starting to come up out there now. Eventually, over the next few years, we will move into Frog Pond East and South areas. Metro added these areas to the city's urban growth boundary in 2018. Master planning will be completed over the next 3 or 4 years. Already, however, Meridian Creek Middle School is in the South Frog Pond neighborhood and is open and functioning and becoming a social staple of the Frog Pond area. Beyond residential development, we're talking about the town center in a lot of ways. We have a new vision for the Wilsonville Town Center, the Town Center plan, We have been through a multi-year process of a community-driven vision to reimagine what our town center should be. Could it be a place that will serve us, entertain us, provide places to socialize, and places to shop all in the same area? Our town center as it currently exists grew out of an automobile-centric design from the 1970s and the 1980s. We have put this whole process through an extensive public engagement series of over 100 meetings that we've had people attend. We have collected more than 2,000 survey responses on what people would like to see in their town center. And we have assembled more than 10,000 data points from which to draw the analytics to base that on. The 100-acre project area around and within Town Center Loop includes the Clackamas Community College, Wilsonville campus, the existing Town Center shopping area, including Fry's Electronics and Regal Cinemas, and other businesses adjacent along the freeway on the west side of the town center area, I should say, not the west side of the freeway. The vision is to create an attractive, accessible place for visitors and residents of all ages to shop, to eat, to live, to work, to learn, to play. We want to consider strategies on how to create a more attractive, commercially vibrant, mixed-use district. There has been strong community demand for an easily accessible and pedestrian-friendly town center area. We know from our experience with the outreach that there is firm residential support for a walkable and modern Main Street district with a mix of small retail shops as a core center. We're looking to create a new street grid and sidewalk connectivity pattern that offers multiple routes through and within this whole new town center area. The intent is to integrate urban and natural environments by creating the concept of an emerald chain of active open parks spaces, linking existing and future parks, along with promenades and urban plazas, all the way from Memorial Park to an envisioned bike pedestrian bridge from Town Center across I-5. We have benefited highly and from the very much engaged task force that we've had working on this, so we want to thank all the citizens and stakeholders that have been participating in the process. The Planning Commission approved this overall plan last week, and that town center plan comes before council next month. In the last year, we've also, last couple of years, I guess, worked heavily on our Parks and Recreation Master Plan. We have updated that plan extensively, especially with specific development plans for Memorial Park and for Boones Ferry Park at the river end of Boones Ferry Road. The theme of these specifics revolve essentially around increasing access to the Willamette River. Access can mean visual access, not necessarily putting your toes in the water, but appreciating the river corridor that flows through our city. There's also within the master plans proposed new sports fields for Memorial Park and for the Frog Pond Community Park that will be adjacent Meridian Creek Middle School. We have more outdoor options currently underway. We're improving the dog park with new amenities, including restrooms and a dog wash. We have better community gardens access. We have developed new recreational programming for everyone from youth to seniors. We've had a youth computer coding camp that we've sponsored, as well as ballroom dancing for adults, and a partnership with the Wilsonville Police Department for free personal safety seminars at the community center. We have a community tourism and development committee that is working on expanding Wilsonville's footprint maybe beyond our local boundaries. In 2018, they relaunched the explorewilsonville.com tourism and visitor information website. The community events section is one of the most popular portions of the website, both for visitors and for residents. The site has a set of 12 themed pocket trips within Wilsonville as a basis for various day trips you could take if you were locating in Wilsonville. Our city's city's visitor value proposition offers Wilsonville as an easily accessible location that opens up a variety of overnight lodging options near many possible tourist destinations. Further, our city and county tourism grant programs provide some $45,000 per year to support community and tourism events. Events many of you know, such as the Wilsonville Arts and Culture Council Festival of the Arts, our Fun in the Park Festival, Wilsonville Rotary Foundation's Summer Concert Series, Brews for the Community's Wilsonville Brewfest, and relatively new, the Wilsonville bicycle event, the Salmon Cycling Classic. Further, we are working on developing a community investment strategy for arts, culture, and heritage. We perceive a strong community interest in advancing a plan that promotes arts and culture within our city, and are drafting a strategy for public and private sector investment and local support. It is notable that the West Lynn Wilsonville School District has a 2020 bond measure coming before citizens that includes a potential for a 600-seat performing arts center attached to Wilsonville High School and available for broader community use. Another area that the council and the staff is working consistently on is employment expansion and future opportunities for business and industry. The Coffee Creek and Basalt Creek areas are the focus of most of this attention at this point in time. Wilsonville is focused on providing the infrastructure that cultivates high-wage jobs that can be strong support for families. Today, Wilsonville hosts over 21,000 jobs in a community of 25,000 people. That is not typical for suburban communities. Half of Wilsonville jobs are in the high-wage sectors of manufacturing, engineering, computer programming, and wholesale distribution. Those 21,000 jobs in Wilsonville have an aggregated annual payroll in excess of $1.1 billion. Again, not typical for a community on the edge of the metro area of 25,000 people. Aggregate payroll of $1.1 billion annually. The city continues to work on new opportunities to attract high-wage jobs. Coffee Creek employment area is one of those. Coffee Creek lies to the south of Day Road on the west side of the freeway. This is a 200-acre area that is designated regionally significant industrial area by Metro government, RSIA they call it. It is envisioned as a high-quality attractor of good jobs in industry with the potential to have perhaps 1,500 jobs and maybe a payroll of another $100 million if that area can be fully brought into production. We established an urban renewal area in 2016 to facilitate that area after a favorable community vote in 2015. That urban renewal will enable new businesses to help pay for the needed pipes, roads, sidewalks, stormwater systems, et cetera, that are necessary to urbanize a previous rural area. We're working on major infrastructure investments such as Garden Acres Road upgrade to prepare the Coffee Creek area to be inviting and encouraging for further private side investment. We hope to attract companies that offer high quality employment and recognize that this kind of employment is what pays the bulk of the taxes that support the city services and amenities that we all appreciate. Beyond Coffee Creek, we're looking to planning for the Basalt Creek employment area, which lies north of Day Road, running up to the boundary with Tualatin. The Basalt Creek concept plan was adopted in 2018, and the new partially built Basalt Creek Parkway is the future boundary that will exist between Tualatin and Wilsonville. We're working toward necessary amendments to allow future annexations and to ready this area for business and employment development throughout the Basalt Creek area. So How are we doing some of this preparing and making more attractive? Well, we have a program that, again, is quite unique to suburban communities in that we have our own public transit agency we call SMART. The city formed the South Metro Area Regional Transit Agency 30 years ago and have run that system ever since. It's intended to be a more responsive transit service for residents and employers throughout the Wilsonville area. We know that it helps Wilsonville employers recruit and retain top quality workforce in a globally competitive economy. SMART solves what's sometimes called the last mile connection concern for public transit. Within 10 minutes of arrival of each west commuter train at the Wilsonville Transit Center, SMART picks up the riders and whisks them to their front door of their workplaces within Wilsonville. Our businesses and their transit commuting workers love the quality of the SMART service they receive. Transit use removes many single occupancy vehicles from our crowded freeways, providing more capacity for the timely movement of freight and commerce by truck. Transit use reduces production of greenhouse gases and reduces overall vehicle miles traveled, achieving both environmental and social benefits. SMART offers free in-town service, connecting us with other transit systems also, and I think I saw a public service announcement here somewhere.
Hi, I'm Dwight Brashear, Transit Director for SMART, your public transportation service provider in Wilsonville. Did you know that riding the bus here in Wilsonville is free?
Free! Free! Free!
Yes, free. And for a small fare, we'll get you connected to Canby, Salem, Tualatin, and South Portland. We also provide free travel training for seniors and customers with disabilities so that they can confidently navigate the service. So come on and take a free ride.
That's our transit director, Mr. Brashear. We have door-to-door service for older adults and people with disability going out of town for medical trips especially for relatively modest fees. We have a newly formed Dial-A-Ride Steering Committee working to refine current demand response service and make recommendations for improved services and efficiencies. SMART and the city successfully compete to win federal grants to help us pay for new buses. Since 2012, SMART has won over $3.8 million in competitive federal and state grants. $3.8 million we have taken in competitive grants. SMART is committed to being a 100% alternative fuel fleet by target year 2028. Currently, 43% of the fleet is powered by compressed natural gas, soon to be joined by some battery electric buses. We have 3 new state-of-the-art battery buses on order being built for us, and in the next couple of years, we will see them in service on SMART routes. Electric and alternative fuel buses provide a more sustainable travel option at a lower overall long-term cost of operation. The council amended the SMART Transit Master Plan in 2018 because a couple of things changed. The Oregon House passed Bill number 2017 to provide a new statewide revenue source to help support public transit. SMART will receive new funds and be able to compete for additional funding beyond that. SMART intends to use these funds to expand with new service, new routes, and more frequency. We will see more frequent all-day service from Wilsonville to Tualatin and additional midday trips all the way to Salem. There will be extended hours of service for our crosstown bus lines into the later evening and weekends. So we value our public transit and continue to support that. We're also working on our surface transportation issues. Addressing traffic congestion, I can say, is one of the major major issues, recognizing the congestion that we have on many of our surface streets. And City Council is very much attuned to that. Of course, our smart transit operations are one way that we address congestion. There are others. The Clackamas County Board of Commissioners recently enacted a $30 a year vehicle registration fee to help fund road maintenance and traffic congestion improvements. Clackamas is the only county in the metro region that has not had a dedicated, ongoing local road funding source, even though it has more miles of road than any of the other metro region counties, some 1,400 miles of road to maintain. The Clackamas $30 a year fee matches that already being paid by Washington County residents. 40% of the fee of the dollars collected under that fee will come back to cities. Wilsonville anticipates that we will receive about $500,000 per year for local road improvements. In addition to that, another 10% of the funds collected will be put into a fund for road improvements on the urban-rural interface by the county, and we intend to be part of the decisions on that also. One area that we are specifically concerned about that might be a candidate for that kind of funding support is the intersection of 65th, Ellickson, and Stafford Road on the north edge of town, just outside of our boundary. The city's working within the city government is working also within the city on traffic solutions that we can help to implement. One of those is the southbound I-5 congestion study recently completed in conjunction with ODOT. This resulted in a plan called the Wilsonville Facility Plan for improvements to I-5. It would add an auxiliary lane from the Wilsonville Road going south across the river, past Charbonneau to the Canby-Hubbard Highway 551 cutoff, and provide seismic upgrades to the Boone Bridge. Projected cost is some $80 to $120 million for all of that work, which is not funded or dedicated at this time, but the city is lobbying at both the state and federal levels for commitments to move that project forward on a foreseeable timeline. At the same time, we have funded local improvements. We term spot improvements around town to help congestion where we can. The Boones Ferry Road southbound left turn lanes onto Wilsonville Road have been improved significantly recently. We have added a third stacking lane southbound on the I-5 southbound ramp to remove more of those cars from Wilsonville Road and help traffic flow on Wilsonville Road. We have done some improvements on Boones Ferry near the Fred Meyer driveway south of Wilsonville Road. We've added some traffic control specifying no turn on red during rush hour on the northbound and that area of the Wilsonville Road, Boones Ferry Road intersection. At the same time, we have been advocating throughout the region for a larger South Metro I-5 corridor transportation study. That study would look at questions like how can transit like west be better utilized for more commuters? How can freight movement be better served? Where can incremental changes like additional merge or auxiliary lanes help reduce congestion and improve safety? The proposed French Prairie bicycle, pedestrian, and emergency bridge is part of the same strategy. It would serve as an emergency bridge when needed to provide access across the river south to the Charbonneau area when I-5 became gridlocked. It would provide incident response to second-tier emergency responders and be a redundant connection to the Boone Bridge. It would create more I-5 resiliency by the fact that it would be constructed to a higher seismic standard than the Boone Bridge currently is. It would be, not coincidentally, an alternative transportation option and a tourism attraction for people that are walking, people that are biking, tourists that might come to participate in the trails that pass through Wilsonville and go either north or south, and to a small extent also for residents that want to be able to get back and forth across the river without having to merge onto the freeway and off of the freeway. It would connect the northern trail area of the metro region through the Ice Age Tonkin Trail down through Wilsonville to the Willamette Valley Scenic Bike Route that is south of the Willamette River. Also a project that is not funded, that is only conceptual and preliminary study at this stage. Metro is undertaking a potential major transportation funding measure to put in front of voters in November of 2020, and that group is just starting to work. I've been asked to participate and been appointed to serve on that advisory task force, and we will see where that direction leads. The city continues to build our interconnected grid, giving people more options to move around. Recent memory, we have built the Barber connection across Coffee Lake. We have built the Vallejos extension that comes out near the library. We have built improvements on Canyon Creek Road. We have built the Kinsman at the corner of Beckman northward to the intersection with Barber Street. Southward to Barber Street, I'm sorry. And at the same time, we're planning on future improvements such as the Old Town Escape Road at 5th Street over to Kinsman, the Garden Acres Industrial Road in the Coffee Creek area, the Beckman Dip Bridge project, and various other bicycle and pedestrian connections where we're trying to fill in gaps in the existing system. I guess the last thing I would want to mention under our surface transportation is that council has had a long-term goal to do a signage and wayfinding plan throughout the city. This is an idea to provide a unified wayfinding system for all different modes of transportation. It would have signs and informational kiosks that were all architecturally similar. It would help make safe connections between key destinations and commercial districts, whether you're walking or biking or driving. And the design and the architecture of those would be designed to strengthen our sense of place and increase foot traffic into businesses and just generally offer a more enjoyable experience to visitors to our community also. So council is working on a lot of different fronts. A lot of it is pertaining to growth and to the challenges that brings. Metro government projects that another 500,000 people will call our region home by the year 2040, just over 20 years away. Another 500,000 people. Council will continue to set quality long-term direction for the city. We want to be a connected, complete community where environmental stewardship is valued and incorporated throughout our urban area. We want to honor and use thoughtful land use planning, maintaining a high-quality community where we create strong, high-quality, amenity-rich, interconnected neighborhoods, commercial centers, and employment areas. We want to do responsible economic development for economic stability in our community. We're looking for good jobs from diverse sectors with a variety of skills and skill levels being called for. We want to have the goods and services that our people need available locally. We want people to have multiple choices for how they live, work, and play at whatever age or stage of their life that they're at. And ultimately, we want people to participate in ways that are healthy, active living, and have access to attractive public spaces and recreational opportunities, places that people really want to be. There are challenges that face us. We need to figure out how to encourage more diverse housing types and price levels in order to meet the varied needs of all of our different Wilsonville residents. We need to continue to build an employment environment that attracts quality family wage jobs, both now and into the future, even though we don't know what jobs will look like 20 years from now, or what industry will look like 30 years from now. We need to continue developing transportation systems and connections to enable multiple options for how we move throughout the city and interconnect with the region. Our ongoing goal, and I think the overarching challenge, is to create a safe, desirable, aesthetically pleasing community which nurtures, sustains, and connects us all throughout our lives. We need all of Wilsonville citizens to join in this work if our combined efforts are to yield the future we envision. Will you join in? Together, I believe we can achieve the vision. Thank you very much. Thank you. I would want to recognize that I could not be here for 1 year, let alone 10, without the support of my wife, Melody, who is here tonight. So thank you so much. And I think we have a few refreshments, and we'll take a few-minute break at this point, if you would join us.